In the previous tutorial we looked at some basic ways of flagging our pictures so that we can find them. In this one we're going to look at keywording, which in my opinion is a much stronger way of being able to organise your pictures. We're going to run through what you can do with keywords, how we can group them and how you can search for them. So let's crack on with it. When I was first talking about importing stuff into the catalogue, I said there was an option to include keywords but not to use it. The reason I don't tend to use it is because you probably want to be a little bit more specific with how you set things up. I've imported some pictures of various models, and what we're just going to do is we're going to actually assign a keyword to each of those models with just their name so that we could search by their name. I'm going to click on Bethany, for example, and I'm just going to use the command Control A to select all the pictures. And over in the right hand side you'll see there's this keywords option. It's under keywording in the panel, and we're going to put Bethany. Just like that. And we're going to repeat that for the other models as well. So all we've done is for each picture now we've added their name, and if you click on any pictures you'll see under the keywords it comes up with just their name. And from this top level models, what I could do now is go to text, and I could actually search. I'm going to search the keyword fields by clicking on this here, changing it from any search field to keywords, and I could type in Emily, for example, and it brings back all the pictures of Emily, which is pretty much what we expect, but it's no real difference from clicking on the Emily folder. So it doesn't really give us a lot. But where keywords excel is we can combine them, much like we could with the attributes earlier. So let's look at what else we can add as a keyword. Well, a lot of these pictures have got a little bit of a fairy tale theme to them. So these two, for example, here were based around a Cinderella shoot, beg your pardon. And I can put additional keywords in now. So separating them with a comma, Cinderella. There we go. This picture, and these three pictures here, they were all based around an Alice in Wonderland shoot. So Alice in Wonderland. That was from where I typed it earlier, incidentally, if you're wondering why it popped up. So I can now flag that as Alice in Wonderland. And now what I can do is I can go to my text option, and I want to search on keywords, and it contains the words Alice in Wonderland. And you'll see it's come back with 5 pictures, not just of one model. We've got Emily and we've got Bethany. Despite the fact they're in separate folders, it still brings back all that information. You'll notice that if I don't type Wonderland completely, it doesn't find anything, and that's because I've got this option contains words. It's looking for full words. I can do contains all, and then I can match part of words as well. So even though I haven't completed the word Wonderland, it's still noticed it. If I select contain, incidentally, we get quite a lot of options, because we can look, for example, here we can find IN in the keyword, and it's matching this IN up here. Basically it pulls back a lot more. This one probably more useful for single words, so we can do Alice, for example. So you need to be careful what option we actually select here. I say we do have the option for starts with, ends with. It's not going to find anything because none of our keywords end with the word Alice. Let's have another look at combining keywords. Just going to select a couple of pictures here. This one, holding down the Command Control key to select multiple images, and these 3 here. And in my keywording I'm going to add, separate by a comma, the word dance. They're all dance related. So now what I can do is I can go back to my keywords, and I'm going to say contains words, and this time select dance. Just type in dance on its own will bring back all 5 of those pictures. But if I also add, for example, free spirit, you'll see it just brings back the ones of free spirit. change that to Caitlin. There's the two pictures of Caitlin. You do need to be careful where the root of your catalogue is starting from. If I was to change this back to dance, for example, we get our 5 pictures because we're looking at models at that level. If I was to actually go into a single folder, you're going to get all of the pictures of Caitlin. It's got rid of the text, but if I pull it back now, you'll see dance is only bringing back the 2 of Caitlin. It's not seeing the ones of Free Spirit because that folder is at a similar level. We need to be at this top level to view all of the pictures below the selected level. As we create our keywords, Lightroom actually stores them in a keyword list, and we can expand that out and we can see all of the keywords that we've entered. Down the left hand side here you'll see there's checks against a couple of these, and if I was to change picture you'll see those change. It's basically showing me what keywords are applicable to the selected picture. And the other thing we can do from here is you'll see Caitlin, it's saying number 4. It's telling me there are 4 images in my catalogue that are keyworded with the word Caitlin, and by clicking on the arrow I can see what those 4 pictures are. So a nice quick way of using your keywords to jump around, see your pictures. You'll see by doing that we've brought up this extra table here under what it calls metadata. We'll look at that in a bit more detail further down the line, so don't worry about it too much at the moment. But you can see here, for example, it's showing us our keywords here, and I can select them. Where Lightroom Keywords really excel is where we can actually create a structure to our keywords. Let me show you what I mean by that. I've got keyword list here. These are the ones that we've created. If I click on the little plus, I get the option to create a keyword, and I'm going to call this one fairy tales. I'll create that, and you'll see it's actually added fairy tales into my keyword list. But what I can do now is I can group things underneath that keyword. Alice in Wonderland, for example, is a fairy tale, and I can literally just drag and drop it. Cinderella is a fairy tale, and you'll see now it's put both those keywords underneath fairy tales. How can we use this? If we come back to models and we go to our text, this time if I type in here fairy tales, you'll see it will bring back all of the pictures that are tagged with Alice in Wonderland or Cinderella, even though none of these images have actually been tagged with the word fairy tales itself. There's another nice thing we can do with keywords as well. If I right click on fairy tales again, and this time do edit keyword tag, you'll see there's this option for synonyms. So we can actually set up other words that mean the same thing. So we could say, for example, fantasy. Just save that by hitting return. Let's select all of the photos in our catalogue, turn on our filter. Let's just set this to be blank for a minute so that we can see all of the pictures. And now if I type fantasy, you'll see it selects those same pictures as if we used the word fairy tales. So let's just look at another example of setting up one of those groups, as it were. If I go to my keyword list, hit the plus, I'm going to set up a keyword called models, in fact just model. So now we can see that, and I'm going to drag and drop the keywords of the various models straight into that group, just so that I can tidy up my keyword list. Let's just look what happens when we tie one of those keywords to another area of the catalogue. So under places, I've got my Scotney Castle. I'm going to click on that. And this is a little bit of a fairy tale castle in my opinion. So what I can actually do is I can add fairy tales as a keyword, and I'll just come back to my top level photos and click on text. We've still got fantasy selected, which we know is another word for fairy tales, and you can see now that even though it's in a completely different section of the catalogue, it has actually pulled back that picture as well. And we can combine the groups that we set up, because now we could say we're only interested in fantasy pictures of models. Just by typing fantasy and model, it's combined the two groups and just pulling back the relevant pictures. I've quickly set up some more keywords and some more groups under places just to show how we can go to more than one level. For example, I've put places like Athens, Hania, Mykonos, Olympia underneath Greece, underneath Italy, I've got Venice. And if we look at one of these pictures and we actually look at the keywording, you can see that all it says is Mykonos. But if I was to type in Greece in my keywords, it still finds that picture even though we didn't tag it as Greece, because it knows that Mykonos is underneath that Greece group. I've also tagged myself in one of these pictures. You can see that in keywords. I put it underneath family, for example, just as an example. And now we can really start to see the power of searching for things, because I can come to the top level photos, I can do text, and I can say I want holiday pictures of Ian in Greece, and it finds that one photo for me. So combining keywords is a really strong feature in Lightroom, and I've not come across it in many other applications, but it is a really good way of categorizing your pictures and being able to find them at a later date. In our next tutorial, we're going to have a look at this metadata filter, which we haven't yet discussed much. We've seen it briefly with our keywords. But until then, thanks for watching, and look forward to seeing you in the next one.